Imagine a kingdom so powerful, so fearsome, that its armies crushed every nation in their path, until they stood before the gates of Jerusalem. The year is roughly 701 BC. The Assyrian Empire, led by King Sennacherib, has already destroyed 46 fortified cities in Judah. Now they set their sights on Jerusalem, confident that no god could stop them, because no god ever had. With threats, taunts, and letters filled with mockery, Sennacherib challenges not only King Hezekiah but the very God of Israel. The people tremble, Hezekiah weeps, and all hope seems lost. But that night, something happens that history cannot explain, and that science cannot recreate. The Bible tells us in 2 Kings 19 verse 35, "That night the angel of the Lord went out and put to death 185,000 in the Assyrian camp. When the people got up the next morning, there were all the dead bodies. One angel. One night. 185,000 dead. But how? What? And what does this mean for us today?" But before we continue, I will leave below a link to one of our ebooks to improve your relationship with God and help you begin to understand the reason for certain things and trust Him more. The context is crucial. King Hezekiah, faced with an impossible situation, did not turn to political alliances or military strategies. He turned to the Lord. In Isaiah 37 we find his prayer, "O Lord Almighty, God of Israel, enthroned between the cherubim. You alone are God over all the kingdoms of the earth. You have made heaven and earth." Isaiah 37 verse 16, he brings the blasphemous letter of Sennacherib before the Lord in the temple and lays it out like a child placing his broken toy before a parent. This act of total surrender is what sets the stage for divine intervention. The Assyrians had mocked the living God, equating him with the powerless idols of the nations they had conquered. But the God of Israel was not like other gods. He was, and is, alive, holy, and just. And in his justice, he responded with devastating precision. The angel of the Lord is not just a poetic symbol. In biblical tradition, the angel of the Lord is often a manifestation of God's immediate presence and power. This is the same divine figure who appeared to Moses in the burning bush, Exodus 3 verse 2, and who struck down the firstborn of Egypt during the Passover, Exodus 12 verse 29. Here in 2 Kings, we see the same divine hand execute judgment, not as an act of cruelty, but as a defense of his name, his people, and his covenant. These 185,000 soldiers were not innocent bystanders. They were part of a regime that committed acts of terror, that defied the living God, and that sought to enslave his chosen city. Their destruction was sudden, complete, and beyond human comprehension. Not a sword was raised by the people of Jerusalem. God fought the battle himself. Historians and skeptics have tried to explain this event naturally, suggesting disease, plague, or psychological warfare. But none of these theories account for the specific timing and scale described in the biblical text. Why did it happen in one night? Why only after Hezekiah prayed? Why was it so thorough that the Assyrians never threatened Jerusalem again? The Bible is not shy about declaring the supernatural nature of this event. In Psalm 46, believed to be written in response to this very moment, we read, "God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. The nations are in uproar, kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice, the earth melts." Psalm 46 verses 1 and 6. This was not just a military victory, it was a spiritual statement. The God of Israel is not limited by numbers, by logic, or by human strength. This story also speaks to the way God handles pride and defiance. Sennacherib's downfall came not from Jerusalem's walls, but from his own arrogance. Isaiah 10 verse 15 echoes this truth. Does the axe raise itself above the one who swings it, or the saw boast against the one who uses it? The Assyrian king believed he was in control. He believed no god could resist him. But he was simply a tool in the hand of the Almighty, and when he forgot that, judgment followed. This remains a warning for every generation. No empire, no leader, no system is greater than God. He raises up and he brings down. His justice may seem delayed, but it is never denied. Yet, for all its weight and terror, this story isn't only about judgment, it's about deliverance. It reveals a God who listens to the cries of his people, who responds not to their power, but to their prayers. Hezekiah's posture of humility and trust was the key. God honors those who honor him. And even when surrounded, outnumbered, and hopeless, a single prayer can turn the tide of battle. That is the heart of the message. God's power is not reserved for the mighty but released through the humble. It wasn't the sword that saved Jerusalem. It was surrender. What does this mean for us today? Most of us aren't facing enemy armies outside our gates, but we do face spiritual battles that feel overwhelming. We encounter threats to our peace, our families, our faith, and like Hezekiah, we often reach moments where we don't know what to do. The temptation is to fight in our own strength, to strategize, manipulate, or panic. But the call of this story is to fall to our knees. Lay the letter before God. Let Him be the one to fight for you. The same God who sent His angel to strike down an empire is the same God who hears your whisper in the dark. Have you already clicked on the like button and subscribed to the channel? This helps us understand that you are enjoying our videos and YouTube is sending you more. We count on your help. Let's go back to the video. This is also a reminder of the unseen world. Ephesians 6 verse 12 tells us, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." The story of the Assyrian army is not a fairy tale. It's a glimpse into the reality that there is a spiritual dimension to our lives, and sometimes the battles we see are only the surface of a much greater war. But take heart, God has not left us defenseless. He has given us His Spirit, His Word, and His angels who even now are ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation. Hebrews 1 verse 14. One night, one angel, one act of divine justice that shook the mightiest army of its time. And behind it all, a God who defends His name, protects His people, and answers prayer in power. The world may mock, enemies may rise, but the Lord fights for those who trust in Him. So today, whatever stands before you, whether it's fear, illness, financial pressure, or spiritual attack, remember that you are not alone. Heaven is not silent. The God of angel armies still reigns. And if you've ever doubted that God sees your situation or hears your prayer, this story is your answer. The same God who delivered Jerusalem still delivers today. He is mighty to save. Turn to Him, cry out to Him, and stand still, because the battle is not yours. It's the Lord's. As Psalm 121 verse 4 reminds us, "Indeed, He who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep." He's awake, He's aware, and He's able. If this message touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder that God is still in control. Like, comment, and subscribe for more biblical insights that go beyond the surface. And never forget, when God steps in, even the strongest enemies fall. Your victory is not in your strength, but in His presence. Let this story strengthen your faith and renew your trust. God is still writing miracles in the lives of those who believe.